let me just say everything is alleged. This is my opinion only. And this video that I'm making is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So we're going to go ahead and start talking about Little Rob. And let me just say this channel is covered under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. I just wanted to get that out of the way and everything before we get started. Okay? And you all, everybody know that Diddy has got a lot of things going on. P. Diddy, Puff Combs, Sean Combs, whatever you want to call him, Love, Mr. Love, Brother Love, he had changed his name as the years go on. But we all still know him, regardless of what name we call him and everything. So let me just statement of it. But I'm going to try to do my best. I doubt if I'm going to make it a number 4. But if you all can just bear with me. And let me just go ahead and put my trigger warning up and everything, because the information is triggered for some people. Not so here's my trigger warning. I do want to have that up. And so if you want to take a moment to look at that, because some information here may be highly graphic information. Contains highly graphic information, and some is a little rough in nature, SA information as well, and graphic images, and some got aftermath or some type of pow in it and different things like that. So I do want you all to look at that or read it before I continue, and this is not for kids. This video is not for your kids. Just sit with you and while you watch it. Okay. And I do want to say before we get started, make sure you all hit my like button. Make sure you hit that, because that's very important to me as a youth content creator, for you all to hit that, because it helps YouTube to keep me in the algorithm, but also that's how we get paid. And it also helps YouTube to recommend my videos to other people that may like my content. All right. And then if you all can do that, I would thank you very much if you can go ahead and get those things done. And if you want to join the channel, you're welcome to join the channel. To join my channel is only $2.99 a month to join. So we're going to go ahead and get started, guys. And as you know, we're going to be talking about Little Rob, which is also Rodney Jones, or AKA government name is Rodney Jones, versus Sean Combs. And, he did mention that suing P. Diddy or Puff is not easy. I'm quite sure it's not easy. It could be rough on anyone that's trying to sue him, because, the man has a powerful reach. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up with this portion of it. And let me just give you, let me see. Because what this lawsuit contains is things. I'm going to go over a little bit of information so you all can be ready for it. And I'm going to just read off as much as I can for you. Okay. Now, according to Jones, which is Little Rob, okay, as he alleges in his complaint, Combs reached out to Jones in 2022 to help him produce songs, but Jones claims the work Combs required of him went far beyond producing music. Now that you're going to see exactly what I mean by that. Okay, far beyond producing music. He claims in the lawsuit that he was tasked with procuring drugs, and soliciting, let me see another word, SEX. I'll think of another word to use for that. Workers to perform XEX acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs. Now, Jones alleged that Combs also required him to tape these S acts, and that Combs would often threaten to inflict bodily harm on him if he did not comply with his demands. Jones alleged in his complaint that Combs kept specific bottles of alcohol designated for females on hand, and according to Mr. Jones, Combs designated alcohol for women specifically and some for the men. Now, Combs forced all the women to drink Lace Deleon liquor. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs laced the liquor with ecstasy. The lawsuit claims he also accused Combs of harassment and assault for allegedly grabbing him without his consent and forcing him to work while Combs paraded around naked. Now he must be, I don't know. You got to have, you got to be a big kahuna to want to do that. Parade around naked. Okay. Jones also alleged that Combs once left him alone in a makeshift studio on a yacht with Cuba Gooding Jr. Who he said alone. Wait now. Who he said then began touching, groping, and fondling his upper thighs near his groin. He said Gooding did not stop until he forcefully pushed him away. Oh my God. Whew. Okay. Now this was filed. Now this lawsuit from Rodney Jones was filed February the 2nd of 2024 in Manhattan federal court. Now this lawsuit is still ongoing. Jones' lawyer also accused Combs of harassing behavior, including manufacturing stories about the plaintiff on TMZ and dispatching his agents to harass plaintiff's 8-year-old daughter, the mother of his child, and his ex-spouse, all of whom have expressed fear of potential harm by defendant Combs. Jones' attorney told Judge P. Paul Orkin, who is overseeing the case, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, who is overseeing the case, then that an additional police report had been filed on March 3rd. Jones is asking the court for a jury trial. That's probably the best way to go. It's a jury trial. Because to me, it's hard to pay someone off in a jury trial. It's just that's just my opinion. That's the way I see it. I don't know whether that could be true or whatever, but that's the way I see it. I would think it would be harder to pay somebody off. Maybe not, maybe so, I don't know, okay? But that's the way I see it. Now, let me go on with everything for you. Okay. Now, when we reached out to Combs for comment, Combs' attorney Sean Hawley provided a near identical statement he provided to the New York Times on February the 26th, 2024. Probably because he had the had it already written out, and why think of a new statement when you already got a statement? That's already prepared statement for anybody that calls. Just my opinion. Um, and Mr. Jones is nothing more than a con man. That's what. Now this is what the Sean P. Diddy Combs attorney is saying, that Mr. Jones is no more than a con man, shamelessly looking for an easy and wholly undeserved payday. It says we have indisputable proof that his claims are complete fabrication. Our attempt to share this proof with our Mr. Jones' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Mr. Blackburn has refused to return our calls. We look forward to addressing these ridiculous claims in court and intend to take all appropriate actions against all who are attempting to peddle them. Well, we'll have to see what's going on with that one. All right, guys, let's go ahead. I think when I did leave off, I left off where because I had talked about we had went over the Mr. Combs and J. Combs solicited drugs and engaged in illicit sex acts with minors and sex workers. Okay, so I went over that part. Okay, so now I'm going to start from here. And if you did want to hear that, you can always go back to my because I did 2 videos on it, two videos, 2 lives actually. You can go back and look at those if you want to. Now we're going to start. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and start from there. I guess this is picking up from that same. Yes, it is. It's picking up from the same thing. Where Mr. Combs' attempt to pass off Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. Okay, and actually, this is what pictures, guys. They do have pictures for this. It shows Mr. Combs with an underage female, female, another picture, and a S worker. And then it shows Justin Combs with an underage female. So I do have some pictures here. I'm just reading what's under the pictures. All right. Now, this is 109. Number 109. Mr. Jones believed that Mr. Combs was grooming him to pass him off to his friends. And I guess you all know what friends he may be talking about. At least I do. I think I have a belief. I know. Now, number 110. This fear became reality when Mr. Combs introduced Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. while they were on Mr. Combs' yacht. 111. During the introduction, Mr. Combs suggested that Cuba get to know Mr. Jones better. He then left them alone in a makeshift studio on the yacht. And this also comes with a picture. In the picture, it states under the picture, this is Mr. Combs and Cuba Gooding Jr. moments before Mr. Jones is assaulted. Number 12, as evidenced by a video of which screenshots are embedded below, Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones' legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulder. Mr. Jones was extremely uncomfortable and proceeded to lean away from Mr. Gooding Jr. He rejected his advances, and Mr. Gooding Jr. did not stop until Mr. Jones forcefully pushed him away. The following is a screenshot of the encounter with Cuba Gooding Jr. That's the picture I just mentioned earlier. Okay. That was from 112 all the way through 114. And it continues on from here. Another picture that says Cuba Gooding Jr. forcibly touching Mr. Jones on Mr. Jones' yacht. Oh, okay. And now we're starting with the Love album. Okay, 115. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was under an implied work for hire agreement. He was not compensated for his time living with Mr. Combs or for the songs he produced. As evidence, he was listed as a producer for the following songs on the Love album: Finally Released, Deliver Me, Stay PT 1, Reaching, What's Love, Stay Awake, Moments, Need Somebody, Homecoming, and Tough Love. I guess those are some of the songs that's on that album, the Love album. Okay. Now, I'm at 118. Mr. Combs, Independent, LR, MR, UMG, all benefited from Mr. Jones' work product. It failed to compensate Mr. Jones for his work. As a result, Mr. Combs, Independent, LR, MR, UMG were all unjustly enriched at the expense of Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones' attempt to work with Mr. Combs to secure his publishing and royalty rights for the work he completed on the Love album. Mr. Combs often offered Mr. Jones 29. Oh, no, wait, let me say this part again. Mr. Combs only offered Mr. Jones $29,000 for 13 months, thousands of hours of work, and 9 songs that made it to the Love album. Ironically, Mr. Jones was willing to take $50,000 publishing and royalties. Mr. Combs' self-serving greed would not allow him to pay. Mr. Jones added an additional $21,000. That's what I was thinking before I even got to that part. That I remember him saying that he did not get paid for his work. Still today, he have not gotten paid, in my opinion. And it's allegedly that he is still walking around with no compensation for his work. And I think I read 13 months. Yeah. 13 months. He worked for this man. You worked 13 months, still haven't gotten paid. You worked 2 months, 3 months, 4, 5, all the way up to 13 months. How can you take care of your kids, your wife, your kids, and all this, and you're not getting paid? That's crazy. That is crazy. And then when you try to negotiate and tell him, it's almost like he's telling you how much he's going to pay you versus you the producer. You tell him how much you're going to charge him for this, for producing his Love album. And if he doesn't want to pay that amount, go to somebody else that will produce your Love album and do it the way you want it to be done. And my understanding was that he couldn't just get up and leave and go home. and say, forget this, man. I'm not doing nothing. You know, oh my God, this is terrible. This is terrible, guys. Okay. Now, Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs' deceptive business practice becomes so bad that Mr. Jones was left with no choice other than to make a public plea on social media for Mr. Combs to pay him for his work. Good job, man. Yes, put it out there. Put it out there on social media where everybody will know. Like that, that was smart. Well, in my opinion. Okay, we're gonna continue. 123. After publicly requesting that Mr. Combs do the right thing and pay him fairly, Mr. Jones received an onslaught of threatening images from Stevie J. What does Stevie J got to do? Oh Lord, Stevie J. Stevie J need to go somewhere and sit down. Everybody know who Stevie J is. He played on Love and Hip Hop. I think that's it. Love and Hip Hop with Jocelyn. Yeah. Oh my God, Stevie J. Oh, he was once married to Faith Evans. Oh my God, he's a joke. Okay, but let me not let my opinions get into this. What I think about Stevie J. He's beside the point. Okay. But he said he received some threatening messages from Stevie J in Love Records in A and R DeForest Taylor, whoever that is. Everybody want to threaten him just because this man reaching out because he want to get paid. If you're not going to give him no money, they need to be quiet. Go somewhere and sit down. DeForest Taylor threatening Mr. Jones. Oh, they got text messages or something. Oh, you plan. Ooh. Let me pull this up this way so I can read them better. Let me see. Okay. No, that's okay. Let me see. You plan in the studio. Laughing out loud, you're 100% liar in Wordo. Good luck. Number still same. Run into, I'm going to say ninja. Come talk to me in public on a public podcast and forum. Why would he want to go talk to somebody that he ain't working for, that don't have nothing to do with paying him? I wouldn't go talk to nobody. Okay. Mr. Combs, in his power and influence to threaten and intimidate Mr. Jones. According to Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs is very forceful and demanding. Mr. Combs does not take no for an answer and would often threaten to inflict bodily harm on Mr. Jones if Mr. Jones did not comply with his demands. As detailed above, Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones' face. Oh my God. Yeah, I heard about that. From from a blogger. Yes. On another occasion, while standing in Mr. Combs' bedroom, Mr. Jones was forced to watch as Mr. Combs displayed his pow-pows and bragged about getting away with pow-powing somebody. Mr. Combs shared that he was responsible for the pow-pow in the nightclub in the New York City with rapper Shine. Okay. And then it got It's a I don't know what this thing. It's got a little article here. It says complex. Got the time 3:34. It says Diddy's former bodyguard accused the rapper of snitching on Shine over 1989 shooting. Okay, this was back in. Oh, I can't see that. It's good. I don't have my glasses on, guys. So we're gonna leave that alone. I didn't bring my glasses in here, but anyway, then it says he shared that artist Mr. Combs' girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, aka J Lo, carried the pow pow into the club for him and passed him the pow pow after he got into an altercation with another individual, and that's the GUN that was carried into the nightclub. Okay, and then it shows a picture. I'm assuming this is a picture. This is a picture of P Diddy, and it says this is the Chicago Tribune. New Sean Combs, Jennifer Lopez arrested after New York shooting. This is published December the 27th, 1999 at 1 a.m. Updated August 11th, 2021 at 2:24 a.m. So okay. Now the shooting in Charlie's recording studio confirmed Mr. Combs' statement. The statements reinforced Mr. Jones' fear of Mr. Combs and strengthened Mr. Combs' dominance and control of Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones was terrified of Mr. Combs. He felt like he could not tell him no. Mr. Combs constantly made it clear that he has immense power in the music industry and with law enforcement. Mr. Combs made it clear that his head of security, Muhammad, they call him Mr. Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. Ooh. And they're showing a picture of Mr. Muhammad on page 27. Now, Mr. Combs instructs his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad if they are ever pulled over by the police in Miami or California. Upon information and belief, Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was pow-powed at the CRS. The LAPD was in the CRS. That's the recording studio. Okay, those are the initials for the recording studio. And witnessed allegedly the blood in the restroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the shooting of G occurred outside of the studio. This was all thanks to Mr. Muhammad connections with law enforcement. Now, I read to y'all, we went over that, I think a while ago, about the bathroom incident, where inside the bathroom, it was allegedly P. Diddy, his son, and then G went inside the bathroom, and only two people came out was P. Diddy, his son. G did not come out of the bathroom with them. When G did come was made out of the bathroom, or taken out of the bathroom, or however he got out of the bathroom. That's when that bogus story that they claim was made up. And I don't want to have to go back through that one. Okay. But if and it's on my last tape I did of this story where we talked about the Rodney Jones lawsuit against P. Diddy. Okay. Mr. Jones had no reason to disbelieve Mr. Combs, as he had seen firsthand through the shooting of G and the silence of the LAPD and the media that Mr. Combs indeed had the power to harm him. The LAPD spent hours in the recording studio, which is the CRS initials, after the shooting of G, yet there was no arrest. Mr. Jones witnessed the LAPD in the restroom pictured above, yet no arrest was made. The morning after the shooting, Mr. Jones had several others arrive at CRS, and G's blood was still on the floor of the restroom, and Mr. Combs hired a cleaning crew to clean it up. Defendant. Excuse me, guys. Now, this is going. This is going away from the what happened in the studio in Mr. Muhammad and the connections. This is Mr. Jones recalls seeing defendant Grinch. Oh, I think his name is Lucia. Let me just see. Give me 1 second, guys. I think that's it. I'm looking at the front. Lucian. That's it. Okay. Mr. Jones recalls seeing a defendant, because the defendant is the one is on the case that Rodney Jones is suing the defendant, Sean Combs, Justin Combs, Ethiopia, Lucian, Charles, Christina, and the rest of them. Okay, so that's Lucian Charles. Okay, Mr. Jones recalls seeing Lucian Charles waiting for Mr. Combs, visiting Mr. Combs' home in Miami, in Florida, and in Los Angeles, California. According to Mr. Jones, whenever defendant Lucian visit Mr. Combs at his home, it would be in the evening, and he and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedroom. Defendant Lucian sponsored and attended several Love album listening parties at Mr. Combs' home in Los Angeles, California. These parties were sponsored by defendant MR, LR, and UMG. As evidence above, these parties had S workers and underage girls present. During these parties, defendant Lucian knew or should have known that Mr. Combs was drugging the attendees through lace bottles of Deleon tequila and Ciroc vodka. Okay. Let me, I'm going to jump around here after I get through this one. It is no secret that Mr. Combs had specific bottles of alcohol designated for females and other bottles designated for his staff, his artists, and himself. This fact was detailed by former artist and bodyguard Mr. Combs. As a sponsor of the events, defendant Lucia had a deputy. No, not a deputy. As sponsor of the event, defendant Lucian had a duty and obligation to ensure that the S workers and underage girls was not present, and that Mr. Combs was not spiking the alcohol with date RAPE drugs. Okay. On YouTube channel, the Art of Dialogue, former bodyguard Gene Deal exposed Mr. Combs' pure mixing method used to spike cranberry juice and orange juice. And I love myself some cranberry juice. Ugh, but I would never drink it for nobody but myself. That's one thing. Mm-mm. I don't drink nobody's cranberry juice but my own. According to Mr. Deal, Mr. Combs would place ecstasy and other date or drugs in the juice. On YouTube, The Art of Dialogue, former artist Mark Curry exposes Mr. Combs spiking bottles of Monet champagne in the VIP section of the nightclubs. Mr. Combs would have a set of Monet champagne bottles for his artists and a set for women. Seems like that's what everybody keeps saying. He always have bottles for the women, for the females when they come in, and a bottle for the men to drink. And nobody's supposed to get them mixed up. That's sad. And if that's the case, you know not to ever drink anything from that place. Nothing. You don't even ask for a bottle of water. You make sure you're not thirsty when you go. You go before you leave home. You drink all the water that you want. Don't drink no alcohol because you need your mind to be clear. Clear, clear, clear. Don't smoke nothing. Don't drink nothing. Don't eat nothing. Don't do nothing. Never stay there when it's late. Pop in and pop out. I wouldn't even go. Not a party for me. The writer has spoken with several former employees of Mr. Combs who witnessed defendant. Oh, who is this defendant here? Let me see. This is Christina. Because I'm looking at the last names and I'm not going to deal with these last names trying to pronounce those and say I'm all wrong. Okay, this is Christina. Okay. Defendant Christina instructs her staff to lace champagne, Darian, and Ciroc liquor bottles with ecstasy and other illicit drugs. Seems like everybody's supposed to do this. All his staff, everybody on his payroll is supposed to do this. There's no way I'm going to be doing that because that makes me part of the problem. That would make you part of the problem, part of harming someone, part of destroying someone's life, part of making a person so depressed for the rest of their life. You're causing harm to a person that some people can't ever reconcile or get over this. Some people don't want to. They may want to unalive themselves over this, and you're taking part in this. And oh gosh, there's no way. There's no way. If I got to have a job that badly, I would quit that job and go find me another job. Ooh, if I have to move out of the state and go somewhere else and live and work, I may not be making the money I was making, but at least my conscience would be better. At least I would be able to see. At least I would be able to live with myself. I cannot work for someone if it's going to mean that my job every day is to harm someone. Oh no, this is tasteless. This is despicable. Now, let me see who is this other defendant coming up here. I tell you, they have the craziest name. Okay, this is Ethiopia. Okay. Now, I understand, now she was, my understanding, it could be alleged, but my understanding, and it's my opinion, that she was dropped from the case after it was proven that whatever, but she was dropped, my understanding. It may not be true, but I'm just going to read what I see. According to Mr. Jones, whenever defendant Ethiopia would visit Mr. Combs at his home. It would be in the evening, and she and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in his bedroom. Oh my God, this is a common pattern. It seems like everybody visit him in the evening and goes off into his bedroom for hours. Oh my God, if walls could talk. Oh my God. Okay, next thing, let me go on. According to Mr. Jones, defendant Ethiopia visited Mr. Combs at defendant, that's a recording studio during Mr. Combs' writing camp. Defendant Ethiopia sponsored and attended several love album listening parties at Mr. Combs' home in Los Angeles, California. These parties were sponsored by defendants MR, LR, and UMG. I'm going to see who these are. LR. Okay, so I see who MR is. Now let me see who LR is. Okay. Let me UMG. Okay, I see who UMG is. I'm still looking for LR. Let me okay. I see who LR is. Okay. Okay, that's on the front of the on the court papers, right up under what's say Rodney Jones, plaintiff versus Sean Combs. Those names, the initials, the names are on there. As evidence above, these parties had S workers and underage girls present. During these parties, defendant Ethiopia had knew or should have known Mr. Combs was drugging the attendants through lace bottles of Deleon, tequila, and Ciroc vodka. As a sponsor of these events, defendant Ethiopia had a duty and obligation to ensure that S workers and underage girls was not present and that Mr. Combs was not spiking the alcohol with date or drugs. Okay. According to Mr. Jones, during the 13th month, he left. Okay, this is the 13 months because they said he said he only lived there for 13. He was there for 13 months. So this is okay. According to Mr. Jones, during the 13th month, he lived and traveled with Mr. Combs. He witnessed Mr. Combs display and distribute. I'm not gonna pow-pows from his bedroom closet in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, to questionable individuals dressed in all black. Now, I don't know who that could have been, dressed in all black. Okay. According to Mr. Jones, during the 13th month, he lived and traveled with Mr. Combs. He witnessed defendant, let me see who this is again, that, let me look for that, this Christina, openly ordered her assistant to keep Mr. Combs high off gummies and pills. Defendant Christina required all employees from the butler, the chef, to the housekeepers to walk around with a pouch of fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, marijuana gummies. That's 100 to 25 milligrams each. Gummies. And then a pink drug, tincture. I don't know what that is. A pink drug that is a combination of ecstasy and cocaine. Oh, guys, I don't know what a pink drug is. They just explained it, but I still wouldn't know. Okay. It was important to the defendant, Christina, to have Mr. Combs' drug of choice immediately ready when he asked for it. Oh my Lord. Just think, it's almost like you're walking around the house. You got your fanny pack on you, but you're distributing. Isn't that distributing? I don't know, but it seems like it in my book, in my opinion. I walk around somebody and I got to carry their stuff around on me all day. Every day I go to work, and then I got to give it to them up on their request. What if that person had too much that day and they ask you for some and you don't even know and you give it to them and then something happened to that person? You know, I don't. I couldn't be. I couldn't do that. I could not be a party to that. I could not. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. Defendant Christina orders S workers and prosta, the night women, the process from the night women for Mr. Combs. Defendant Christina ordered and distributed ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, calamine, marijuana, and mushrooms to Mr. Combs and his celebrity guests who were present on his rented yacht in his home in LA, New York City, and Miami. On multiple occasions, defendant Christina forced Mr. Jones to carry Mr. Combs' drug pouch against his will. Oh my God. She couldn't have forced me to do nothing. As the chef of staff, no, as the, wait now, it was, okay. As the chief of staff, defendant Christina was instrumental in organizing and executing the RICO enterprise. Defendant Christina had the following individuals execute the following tasks for the RICO enterprise. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. A is Stevie J. Recruits S workers and attends and participate in free calls. And everybody know who Stevie J is. Okay. Justin Combs solicit the pros workers, the women of the night workers, underage girls, and S workers would engage in free calls. How are you going to engage in free calls if that's your daddy? Oh, Lord, you and your daddy doing the same thing. How are you going to do that? How are you going to, oh, Lord, no, no, no. Okay. C, Brendan Paul, work as Mr. Combs' mule. And he's the man that gets his drugs for him and do a lot of other things. He acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and GUNS, pow-pows. Okay, let me just read this here. At the bottom it says, we have a recording of this and we'll provide it to the courts. This is coming from Little Rodney Jones, and his. We have a recording of this and we'll provide it to the courts. We have a video of Mr. Combs, Stevie J, and the plaintiff Jones at a strip club. Mr. Combs is recording the video while coaching and training plaintiff Jones how to recruit the S workers. Oh my God, I tell you. Guys, didn't I tell you this is too much for one's brains? Okay, and I'm going to make this a fourth night. I'm going to stop here. Let me see where's a good place to stop. Okay. Okay. I'm going to read this last page and then we're going to stop. Okay. Uh, okay. Frankie. Okay. Let me see who is Frankie. Frankie Santella works alongside Brandon while Brandon acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs in GUNS. Frankie carries the money and pays for the GUNS and the drugs. Frankie and Sean Combs hires hires sex workers, attends and participates in the free calls. Okay, that's someone called Mobu or Mobon or something. I can't pronounce it. This is Thanksgiving 2022 when Mr. Combs offered Mr. Jones cocaine. And there's a picture also. They're showing a picture of him. Mr. Combs funded and used his affiliations with local gangs and gang leaders who would frequent his home in LA and Miami to secure the drugs and GUNS he obtained and distributed out of his home in LA and Miami. Defendants executed their RICO enterprise with threats of violence, threatening to eat plaintiff's face, displaying and distributing the GUNS in plaintiff's presence, bragging about having law enforcement under control, bragging about unaliving people, and bragging about berating witnesses, bribing witnesses and jurors in the criminal case concerning the 1999 New York City club nightclub Pow Pow with Shine. Defendants executed their RICO enterprise with threats of isolation from the music and entertainment industry, parading powerful music industry executives such as defendant Lucian Charles, Ethiopia, at his parties filled with S workers, minors, and illegal drugs such as ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, you all know that, calamine, marijuana, mushrooms. Defendant executed their RICO enterprise with threats of non-payment for work completed, fake promises of cash payments of $250,000, producer of the year Grammy Awards, and guaranteed access to future projects in a $20 million home on Star Island in Miami. Oh my God. So that's where we're going to stop, guys, because starting next time, I will be going over Mr. Combs is allowed to wreak havoc. And wreak havoc on what? I don't know. Let me highlight this part because this is what we're going to start next. I do want to say, I do want to thank everybody for listening and being here for tonight. To hear the some of the outlandish and craziest things I ever heard myself on this case with Rodney Jones and Sean Combs. Okay, I do want to thank you all for that because I know it's not easy to hear this. And then also, I need you all to hit that like and subscribe button if you can. Go ahead and do that for me. I would appreciate it. And we will be ending here. This will be ending. So guys, please hit that like and subscribe button for me. I will appreciate it. Thank you all, and I hope you all have a good night's sleep.